Welcome to Penny for Your Shots, conversations and cocktails with brilliant women. I'm your host, Penny Fitzgerald, and I believe the best stories are the ones shared over a glass of wine or a cocktail. Each week, I sit down with women who've said yes to building something meaningful, often after years of putting everyone else first. We talk business, big dreams, and the mess in between. And of course, a few favorite drinks. So grab a glass, get comfy, and let's pour ourselves into Penny for Your Shots. What if the thing holding you back isn't a lack of strategy, but a story you've been telling yourself for years? In today's episode, I'm sitting down with Dr. Terri Levine, business coach, former CEO, and one of the most heart-centered entrepreneurs I've had the pleasure of talking to. Terri shares how she walked away from a high-powered corporate role, built multiple million-dollar businesses, and discovered her true calling, helping others design a life and business they actually love. We talk about escaping the bro marketing trap, why your ego is not your amigo, and how real successes start when you stop trying to prove yourself and start serving others. If you've ever wondered whether it's too late to pivot or whether kindness and profit can go hand in hand, friend, this one's for you. Grab your favorite drink and let's dive in. Here is Dr. Terri Levine. It's great to meet you, Terri. I'm so grateful for this opportunity and would love to get to know you a little bit better here.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell my listeners a little bit about you and what you do.
So I have been a business consultant for 30-something years now, and I primarily work with entrepreneurs to help them live well and earn well. So first, they create a life design plan so that every area of their life is as juicy and delicious and fulfilling as they desire. And then we create their business, their current business or their new business around that plan so they can transform a lot of lives in a lot less time and make a lot more money.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
I enjoy it. I love it.
That is fantastic. So how did you come to your career? I mean, or how did you find it, or how did it find you?
Good question. Thank you. So I started out initially right out of college with a master's degree in speech language pathology, and I opened up a speech clinic. That was my first business, and that's really where I learned how to run and operate a business. I didn't know a thing from college. I sold that business and I opened numerous businesses along the way and just kept selling them. And then for 5 years, I took a stint at CEO as a national healthcare company, and I spent 5 miserable years there. I was unhappy every day. I just didn't fit. And then a little over 30 years ago, I made the decision to start being a business coach, consultant, life coach, life consultant, went on to get my PhD in clinical psychology, and just knew in my heart that that was what I was meant to do. And I've never looked back.
Wow. That is quite a journey.
It is. And a lot of learning along the way, right? Learning what doesn't resonate, what I didn't enjoy, and then finally figuring out where I felt at home, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you were in a corporate role before in healthcare?
Yeah, I was CEO of a national healthcare company.
Wow. That's no pressure, huh?
Oh my gosh, I had 2,800 employees. We had just gone through a merger. There was a system coming for Medicare called Prospective Payment System, which basically meant that the earnings for the company would be down about 60%. And I just didn't want to be there. And I also saw the writing on the wall, and I was right. About 7 or 8 months later, most healthcare companies doing what we did, rehabilitation services, went bankrupt, and they're all gone. So I just knew in my heart, this isn't what I can do every day. I'm not making an impact in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how did you, when you first had that inkling that, okay, I got to get out of here?
I remember it. Yes.
I'm sure it's one of those, I've talked to a lot of female entrepreneurs who have broken out of corporate, myself included. And there's just always a moment where and maybe you don't know what you're going to do afterwards, but you've got to do something.
I'll tell you when that happened. I can remember this very clearly. I was miserable. I wasn't like planning to leave. I was miserable. And then at 11 o'clock at night, working on budgets in my office, I'd been there since 6 in the morning. One of the members of the board came in and said, listen, I'm going to give you the numbers that the budgets have to be, and don't continue working on them. I said, excuse me? He said, yeah, we have to reach these numbers to keep our stock right. And I said, in today's economy with prospective payment, it's not possible. And he said, I'm telling you, just use these numbers. You can go home and write these numbers down. And I went home. I did not write the numbers down. And the next day, I just stood my ground and said, if you want to redo my budget with fake numbers, here you go. I won't sign it.
Wow.
They redid the budget with fake numbers. And I didn't yet know, Penny, exactly. I just knew I had to leave. I had no idea what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
The universe is like magical and
Oh, yeah.
I decided to go to a Mind Body Spirit Expo in Boston, and I was here in the Philadelphia area. I got on a plane, quick half-hour flight, sat next to a woman, and I said, hey, what are you going on, business or pleasure? And what do you do? And this is 30-something years ago. And she said, I'm a coach. Never heard of it, right? So, board, what team? And she's like, no. On that 30-minute flight, as soon as she started describing it to me, I went, I'm supposed to be doing this. And the first person that I met when I was checking into the hotel was a woman. We were chatting at the front desk. And she said, oh, I'm so excited to be here. You're here for the expo. I said, yeah. She said, oh, I'm a life coach. I went, oh, universe, I totally got you, right? Went to my room, went online, found a coach training school, enrolled. And as they say, the rest is history.
Wow. That's a very cool story.
For letting me share. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you were at this expo and you enrolled in this program to become a coach. And that was 30-ish years ago?
Yes.
Wow. So, okay, what was the path after that? How did you navigate, like what direction to go, like your specialty and all of that? How did you find that?
So I will say that it took me 3 months to quit. I carried a
Yeah.
resignation letter with me for 3 months until one day my coach went, okay, my mom had passed. You think your mom wants you to be miserable or happy? Such a powerful coaching. I couldn't even answer, and I resigned the next day. Like, it was the most
Wow.
powerful question she could have asked. And then I thought, okay, well, who am I going to coach and what am I going to do? And so I went ahead and I started just contacting everyone that I knew in that same industry that I was leaving, saying, hey, I'm doing this thing called coaching. I'd love to talk to you about it, see if I can help you. I know you're also miserable. And I literally spent the next 30 days just chatting with people. And I had 30 clients in 30 days.
Wow.
And then I refined along the way, because at the time I was just doing any kind of coaching. And I'm like, no, career isn't it. Did a little bit of sales. I did a lot of corporate. And then I'm like, oh, I'm right back in corporate. I want out. And then I started working with entrepreneurs, and in particular, female entrepreneurs. And I went, these are my people.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing that ever since.
I love it. Well, don't you feel that action brings clarity?
Oh, 100%. And I always tell my clients that. You want
absolutely
to get it through action. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's hard in the beginning because, well, our nervous systems are trying to keep us safe. We want to be comfortable, and we don't maybe see all the possibilities, or maybe there are too many possibilities and we don't know which direction to go, but just go. Just take one step.
I think that's very good advice, like incredibly sane advice, because I hear so much bizarre advice nowadays. I hear people just saying the strangest things that people can do, and I'm like, and you're going to get clients from that, and you're going to know your niche through that. I just find it so important. Just get in, start doing it. And you will also get clarity on, who do I love working with? Who don't I? What kind of, do I like doing events, retreats in person? Do I want to do it in an office, virtually? And the cool thing is, it's your own business. You get to make all these decisions. So it's really something pretty phenomenal that most people don't have.
Yeah. Well, and it can be scary though, too, right? Because in the beginning, I mean, you're coming from a corporate salary to, oh my God, where is the money coming from?
So I'll burn the curtain and be really transparent.
Yes, please.
With corporate, right? Give my
Hmm.
resignation letter. And the policy is they walk you out the door when you resign and you're in a high position. So I already knew that. So before I turned the letter in, I cleaned out my office. The only thing sitting on my desk was my cup of coffee. And back in the day, you faxed it, right? So I faxed it over. And somebody came flying into my office, one of the people on my team. And he's like, we're not really accepting your letter. I said, actually, you don't really have a choice. Like, I'm done. I can't ethically and morally stand with this company anymore. And he said, we know you're going to a competitor. And I thought, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to tell them what I'm doing and where I'm going. And so you need to leave. And I get 5 weeks pay. That's the policy. So I get to start my business with 5 weeks of full pay.
Okay.
By the way, in week 3, they called me and they begged me to come back or be a consultant. I'm like, no,
Hmm.
like not happening. So I'm driving home and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so free. I'm singing Leonard Skinner's song, Free as a Bird, right? I'm like, and then I walk into my house like reality hits. Oh my gosh, after 5 weeks, I'm not going to have any money coming in. And listen to my self-talk. I have a
Hmm.
master's, I have a PhD, I could be a speech pathologist. I'm like, I guess I could work at McDonald's.
Oh,
That was my self-talk. I had to get myself back in alignment because
yeah.
I had that moment of,
Yeah. Panic.
and then you know what I did? I took action. I started calling people and talking to people. And then as soon as I got my first client, I can't even explain it. It was like I knew I was doing the right thing.
You're back.
One person.
Hmm. Well, and it can be part of the difficulty, I feel like, in coming out of that self-talk is you've kind of been beat down for a while, right? By all of the corporate stuff that you have to do, or just to be in, you start to self-doubt. You doubt yourself, you doubt your decisions, you doubt what you've been doing. Am I really capable of doing it on my own?
Yeah. What was interesting is that I had so many businesses along the way that had been super successful. I had sold each for one for a million, several for millions.
Wow.
So I had all this experience and track record as an entrepreneur. And when I told my husband, when I came home, I was like, I could work at McDonald's. He just started laughing. He's like, you're kidding, right? I'm like, no. First of all, I didn't need money. We were financially set. I panicked over having no money because I didn't have corporate salary. And then I panicked like, I don't know how to build a business. And I found
Mm.
that so interesting that was still some old stories and programs running. Well,
Hmm.
I didn't have to consciously work on shutting down.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, and there are so many other considerations for women too that, if you're in a corporate job, it feels safe because you have a salary, you have benefits, insurance, vacation time, all those things. But is it really secure? Not usually.
Never, as I said, that company went bankrupt. I can't remember, it was 6, 7, 8 months after. And the person who eventually replaced me, thought she was moving into a position of security and then was totally out. So the only true security I really know we have is when we control our own future and our own lives. You want to make more money? Take on more clients, change your fees. I mean, there's a million different things here. The thing for me is that I've designed my life and now I've designed my business. So everything is the way I want it. And it's really freeing.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. Very cool. Okay, so I got to ask you some of your other businesses that led up to that. What kinds of industries were you in, or what did you do in those companies?
Oh, I did so many things. So I started as a speech language pathologist.
Yeah.
And I was just so ignorant. I knew nothing about business. Getting my master's in speech pathology was all about how to treat and diagnose patients.
Okay.
I opened up a speech clinic. You need doctors to refer. And I'm also transplanted because my husband and I moved from the East Coast to the Midwest. We know no one. And I can't get any doctors to even talk to me. And after a month, I'm like, I'm going to run out of money because I had just enough money to pay the rent for this clinic and buy speech pathology equipment. And I finally talked one doctor, like I begged, and he sent me 3 patients. sent him reports. They were happy. He sent more. And then I kept going to every doctor. Well, Dr. Elkammer is referring. And they're like, oh, okay. So a guy walks into just imagine this, walks into my clinic. We're in the Midwest. Most people are wearing jeans and overalls. And I get a message from my receptionist. There's a guy that just walked in and he's a blue Navy suit and he was asking for Mrs. Levine. No one called me that. I'm like, oh my God, I was scared to death. And he said, yeah, I want to buy your clinic. Anyway, he gives me his business card. I go home. My husband, who's a financial advisor and way different in business than me, says, call a guy up. We're going to meet with him at lunch and you're not going to speak.
Oh,
See, that's hard, right? We met for lunch and he purchased my business. And this is in 1982 for $1
wow.
million. I gave
Holy
my husband
buckets.
that money. We had nothing. And he invested that and literally changed our lives with that. So then I said to my husband, well, now what do I do? Because I don't have anything to do. And he said, figure out what's important to you. And I grew up very, very poor. And then my father got a job when I was in fourth grade that took us from being poor to living in an upper middle class neighborhood that I was so uncomfortable in. And the first time I went to someone's home, got another child, the person opened the door and was in like a maid's uniform. Never saw that other than TV.
Uh-huh.
Said, Andy will be right down. Come into the library. Now, the only library I'd ever seen was like the New York Public Library.
Right.
I went in a room, paneled, art everywhere with art lights on the wall. I was beyond intimidated. So I said to my husband, Mark, I want to bring art to the middle class so no one ever feels that again. He said, okay, figure it out. So I started a home art show company that became crazy successful. And basically we brought art, beautiful art that I traveled all around the world to get from artists into middle class families. We shared the art. They had other guests over. We talked about the art, how to decorate, how to design. I framed the art. When I say I made my husband quit his job and join me because
Oh my gosh.
so we sold that after about 8 years.
Uh-huh.
And then I got really lucky, and this is luck. I started a rehabilitation company with 2 other gentlemen, and I am serious. We basically slept in the office and worked day and night for about 8 months. We did not have lives. We did not sleep, barely ate. At the end of 8 months, that company did $88 million.
Holy cow.
We were in the right place at the right time with the idea. After the 8th month, I said, guys, I don't want to live like this. Buy me out, please. I have to stop. So that was a business along the way. Then I had an Abundant Living Institute. I owned 2 different coach training schools that I sold, a business consulting institute that I sold. So I really started moving into more and more being in the business of transformation.
Okay. Well, and you have had entrepreneurship all along.
Yeah.
How did you make, okay, so coming from that, I have so many questions. So coming from that entrepreneurial spirit, working for yourself and building these businesses and toughing it out and grinding. Okay, corporate is a grind, but what led you to corporate? How did you go from working for yourself to into a corporate role where you're coming in every day and reporting to someone else?
A 3-letter word, ego. Somehow I thought,
Really?
swear to you, being able to say, I'm the CEO of this huge national healthcare company was somehow better than saying I'm the CEO of my own company. And my dad was living with us then. My mom had passed. And I think that just made my dad really proud. So it was about like other people.
Okay.
And I remember coming home telling my husband after the first day there, I don't belong in a job. They don't want to hear my ideas. They don't want me to be, I didn't want to be in the office. I wanted to be out talking to the therapist, going to the nursing home. They didn't want that. I'm like, I don't think I belong here. And yet I stuck it out for 5 years, and I'm being very, very sincere here. Every day for me was miserable. I was unhappy. I'm only 5 foot. I'm really tiny. I had gained 60 pounds. So I weigh about 100. I weighed 160 on this tiny little body. I was just eating myself miserable in all
Mhm.
seriousness. And once I left, the weight came off. My hair had been like falling out.
Oh gosh.
Everything changed.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes those physical signs are the ones that creep up and you don't really see them happening because they're happening slowly, and you're part of it. So you don't
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
a friend of mine uses the expression that I love. He says, your ego is not your amigo. And I look at that
That's
experience.
clever.
It's really a good expression as being totally caught in my ego. Somehow
Mm.
outside of myself, I felt that this title made me important. And
Mm.
when I woke up to, look how sad and unhappy I am, I never wanted to talk to friends or family on weekends or go anywhere. Because I
Mm.
just like, I talk all week. I have people bothering me all week. I just want to be alone. I would sleep hours and hours. That's depression. I just
Yeah.
recognizing what was going on with it.
Mm. Hmm. Well, and part of that is your expectations, and that came from, wanting to please your dad and wanting him to be proud of you, you know? Yeah, we put so much on ourselves because of those internal and things from our when we were really little kids even just stay with us for so long.
Yeah, one of the things my dad and my mom told me that I had to literally deprogram was you just work really hard your whole life, just put your head down and work, and quote, someday you'll get to retire.
Mhm.
So the first book I wrote about 30 years ago is called Work Yourself Happy, because my parents had embedded in me like literally working myself sick. And it just changed everything for me, like getting that story and going, I'm not going to live like that.
Mhm.
Out for my parents. It didn't work out well.
Yeah, that's partly generational. I feel like, growing up through the depression and going through all of that rebuilding after World War II, like my parents too. I know you just, that work ethic,
Yeah.
you work and you grind.
Yeah.
Ugh.
However, since you mentioned grind, I am really sad. And
Hmm.
I hope you don't mind me calling it this. I call it the bro mentality.
Oh,
Come on, bros, let's hustle and grind. Let's ring a bell when we get a client. Let's put up awards of how much money we make. I just do not like that energy.
thank you for saying that.
It's so transactional and it's
Same.
not
Yep.
how I choose to live. Yeah, sorry. I
Exactly.
had to be very, very clear on that.
No, I am so on board with that. I love that you said that because it doesn't work when from a heart-centered place. It's not in service of others. It's like it's competitive. It's um yeah, it's
Yeah, it doesn't.
it's all that bro energy. It's bruh.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. And working together as a team to accomplish a goal, that's fun. Cheering each other on, lifting each other up, helping each other achieve something together in service of others. You know,
In
that's
service of others, you nailed it.
yeah, that is just a blast. And I feel like women are so in tuned to that. We are wired for that. And when we go into a corporate scenario, quite often we're put into that competitive against each other, and it's a pie. And there's a zero sum game where you're going for that one piece of pie and only one person can have it. Like, no, 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 it's not a pie. There's enough to go around. There's abundance. There are so many things you could do with where your gifts lie and where your talents are. So find what works. Where can you fill a need? How can you be of service to others? And let's support each other and lift each other up to serve each other.
Exactly how I feel. I love like communities, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or in-person events, when people are all supportive, coming from abundance. And you know what? It doesn't matter if you make X dollars and someone else makes more or less. None of that is important. And as women, we really need to be cheerleaders for each other, especially today. There's just so much going on in the entire world. And if I can make one person's day, one person's minute, I feel like I'm contributing to the world. I was at the grocery store, I guess it was this past weekend, and the woman in front of me, I could just see she was really struggling. She had one little kid, she had a kid in the cart, she was trying to put the food on. I said, I'll unpack your cart and put everything up there. And she looked at me like, why would someone do that? I'm like, you got your hands full. So I put all the stuff up there. And she turned to me as she was leaving. She literally had a tear in her eye.
Oh,
She said, I just don't find people being compassionate anymore. And you just made my day. And I thought, I did nothing. I did the littlest thing. And so I try to live in that way. Let's add value to each other and each other's lives, businesses, and let's not beat each other down. We're all sisters.
right. Right. Be in collaboration with each other, in support of each other. And incidentally, there's money to be made with that. It's not like you choose one or the other. You don't choose to be kind, so you're going to stay poor.
Exactly. Exactly. And the more, in my experience, that you just open your heart without any attachment, I don't need anything reciprocally from her. So you just open your heart. And
Yeah.
it's amazing to me, just when I live more and more in this way, how much shows up in terms of amazing people, collaborations, partners, like the most amazing clients. And like, all I'm doing is just keeping my heart open
Mhm.
and being the best person that I can possibly be.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think our business only grows at the speed that we do.
I like that. Very well said. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. We have to be open to change and open to learning new things and open to opportunities when they pop up.
So I'm a continuous learner. I say yes to almost everything that shows up. I'm like,
Mhm.
showed up. How is this for me? Okay, I don't know. Um, and I literally love to meet and talk with people who are completely different than me, completely different beliefs, religion, sexuality, whatever, so that I can learn to embrace more of the world, more cultures. And, every day I try to learn at least for an hour something new, something I don't
Mhm.
know, or something I think I know, that let me hear someone else's perspective.
hmm Yeah, it's interesting when we think we understand something, we may have a tip of that iceberg, but
Yeah, I have a client she's so techie, she's amazing. And I was sharing something the other day, and she said, oh, I have something to add. Can I add? I said, yes, of course. And literally, it's a shortcut that probably saved me and my clients an hour a week.
nice.
I tell my clients, like, I don't know everything. I know what I know. You all know what you know. We're a collective of energy, which is why I like to work with them in groups. There's so much synergy and synchronicity. And I learn from them as well.
hmm That's awesome. I love group coaching too, because when one person may have a question, but they don't know quite how to ask it, or they're afraid to ask it, or maybe they haven't even come to the question yet. It hasn't been made, present, known to them. And somebody else will ask a question. They'll be like, oh, yeah, that applies to me too. Or I can see how I can use that information, or it helps them grow. It's great to be collaborating with other women.
Collaborative. The synchronicity, the synergy makes so much sense to me. I have 8 coaches, and that's how much I believe in coaching, all different things. And one of my coaches said, oh, do you want to work with me privately? I said, no. And she said, oh, it's the same price. I said, I don't care if it was a tenth of the price. I want to be in the group. I want to collaborate. I want to connect. I want to meet other women who think like I think. I want to contribute and I want to learn from them. And I said, that's why I do groups. And she's changing her model now, where she's going to do very little individual. So it's kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Because, yeah, well, individualized coaching is good too, especially if you're going through a specific season in your business or a specific problem that you're trying to address. But yeah, the group coaching is just so
I love it.
inspiring. It's kind of an accountability thing too, I feel. Do you agree
I
with that?
Yeah. When I first started, I mean, the model 30 years ago, there weren't groups, right? So,
Hmm.
30 clients in 30 days, the end of a month, I looked and said, this is not a sustainable model. Like
That's a lot.
it was, and I didn't have any boundaries. And I had clients all over the world. One person was like 3 in the morning, another person was 11 at night. It was bizarre. And I sat down one day and said, I'm not doing this. And then I asked my clients, could I try and put 15 of them in a group? I didn't know anyone doing groups. It just seemed like a weird concept. And I said, I'll tell you what, let's try for a month. If it doesn't work, I'll refund all your money. We did it for a month, and the feedback was, can we do more of this? And that's it. I stopped individual. So that's about 29 years ago.
Wow.
I do very rare individual. If someone is one of my group clients and wants like a one-off session on something, that's about it. It just works really well for me. And my clients seem to get better results, and they get faster results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally believe that. It's just so, oh gosh, doing an individual, looking at the clients that I coach too, the individuals don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they get caught up in their fear and seeing other women do what they're trying to do and step out and do one little thing. It gives them courage too.
It does. And I'll give you a case study of this real brief. I have a client who's only been with me 2 weeks, and she was watching a couple of my clients. Some of my clients have been with me 30 years, some 20, some 10. But she was watching two other women who are just like fast track because they've been around a while. And she said, oh, I feel like I'm not keeping the pace. And I'm like, I want you to have a conversation with each of them and ask them where and how they were when they first started with me. So first, she had a conversation with one of them. That was it. She's not competing anymore.
Mm.
Instead, she's gaining more confidence. And she said, I feel like I'm building my muscles. I'm like, right, you don't go to the gym the first day and, lift the heaviest weights. I said, years ago when I started working out, I swear to you, I couldn't lift a 5-pound weight. I lifted a 3. I'm not kidding. And it's totally changed her mindset.
Nice. Oh, and that's exactly true. Because you're rebuilding that muscle, you're retraining yourself,
Sure.
not to think like competitiveness, that mindset where you're, in competition with each other. It's not a pie. You got to remember you got to rebuild that muscle.
I like the pie analogy, by the way. Thanks for sharing that. That just really stayed in my head. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it pops up for me a lot. I hear, people talking about, when you hear them speak, you can hear the lack or the scarcity or the fear of, I don't have enough, or I'm never going to be able to get enough, or I'm not ready, or any of those fears. And you just have to keep remembering it's not a zero sum.
Yeah, well said. I had invited someone to join my Facebook community because I really liked their posts. I'd seen a lot of their posts. I'm like, oh my God, they'd be great. And she private messaged me and said, well, I'm not going to accept your invitation because I do exactly what you do. I said, number one, no one does exactly what no one else does. We're all
Exactly.
different. And number two, who I said, I have a community of about 10,000. There's tons of people in there who do something similar. I invited you because I think you can make a contribution. And I think some of the people would like to work with you. Not everyone in that group's going to work with me. And she was really closed off. It was so interesting. Why don't go where the competition is? And I went, I don't see competition.
No.
Cooperation. It's okay.
Yeah.
Interesting to me.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that is kind of sad.
I felt sad. I'm glad you said that because that was how I felt. I felt, oh, she is really missing out on not just opportunity with me, opportunity, period, to be part of a bigger collective of energy and with women and a network.
Right. Right. And, coming from the energy and the attitude of we're all here to serve and make a difference, you can't possibly serve 10,000 people. You can't possibly be doing things the exact same way that she is, and vice versa. there's, everyone's got a different vibe, a different energy, and you attract your people.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, this is the first time that has shown up for me. I
Interesting.
actually screenshot her responses and shared it with my team, and they're like, that's so odd. I said, it's really odd if you go to her Facebook page, because the reason I liked her posts were they were
Uh-huh.
lifting and they were about collaboration and connection. You
Oh,
always have to look. I always tell my clients, you have to look for authenticity. Anybody could say or do anything on social media. Is that really how they show up all the time? Is that really
right.
Entrepreneur stands for integrity. It stands for authenticity and transparency. That's what we stand for. So anyone on my team that's not behaving in that way, and we had that recently, they're just done. I can't not have people who are aligned. So whoever's listening, you have to really check, how are you showing up? You have to be the same person all the time. Many years ago, my husband normally doesn't come to events, but he was helping me at an event, and he was in the back of the room. And he said, someone came up and said, is she always this bubbly and chatty? My husband's like, I've known her since I'm 16. Yeah, you get the same person. And that's how we have to show up. I know plenty of people I've been in a green room with, and they're one way and sometimes not nice. And they go on stage and they're a completely different person. So we just have to take a look at those things for ourselves.
And that doesn't work long term.
No, it does not.
No, you might be able to fake it for
Exactly.
a 10-minute speech or presentation.
You'll get found out.
Well, not only that, but when you're doing your thing,
Yeah.
it just doesn't come across like your energy has to be in sync.
And that's what I mean by you'll get found out. People will see that.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they don't even know what it is, that something feels
Exactly.
off.
Something feels off. Yep.
Yeah. Trust your gut on that.
Yeah. Well, and even the person that's doing, thinks they're one way and acts at times another. It's probably that person probably doesn't even realize they're doing it. They probably want to be this good person, this person that is, okay, I just labeled that and I shouldn't.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah. I don't intend to label people, but, for someone who's not in their authentic self, it doesn't feel right. And they want to be a certain way, but they aren't quite there yet.
Exactly. Exactly. And I won't use the name, but I am going to tell that I was in a green room with a gentleman who was speaking before me. I was going on stage after him at a very large event. And he seemed, fairly nice in the green room. He's a huge name. He's a big star. And right before I went on stage, we had a break. And so I was sitting in the green room when he came off stage, and he came in the room full of the other speakers. And he said, I'm not going to use the curse words that he used, but this audience, what a bunch of jerks, idiots, and went on and on, because he didn't have good sales.
The people he serves were at fault.
I think my jaw was just, I could close my jaw. And I thought to myself, you know what? I never look, and this is true story. Don't look at the sales from an event. I look at, do I think I impacted one person? There could be 200, 500, 10,000. Did I help one person? So I went on stage, I had a ball. And if you ask me, how was the audience? They were amazing. They were speaking it up, and I could see light bulbs going off. It was so interesting to me. And I think that was the last time. Yeah, it was the last time I accepted being part of any event where it was people pitching from the stage. I'm like, you know what? It's not the thing that feels good to me. And you have to know what feels good to you. That was not for me.
Well, it's one thing to pitch something, but it's another thing to expect sales.
Yeah.
And
create your office.
Right. I mean, you're there to serve them. You're there to make an impact. And the pitch that you give, hopefully, is taking them to the next level. It's their commitment to, I want to make an investment in myself to do this other, to take it to the next level, to learn more, to grow. And if you're doing it from the right place, it doesn't matter to you as long as you have impacted them in a positive way.
Exactly. I mean, there's events where I quote sold or the audience has bought a ton of
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Other events where maybe they didn't.
It doesn't matter.
Label one is this was a better event. I really go internally to myself. Did I do what I was supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
The best version of myself, deliver, make an impact on at least one person in the audience. My work is done.
Yep.
How I feel.
Well, and if you did, which you will, if you did, then those results will come later. At some point, you're going to get results from everything that you do in service of others.
I have to tell you a funny story about that. I spoke on cruise ships for a while, and this was like 20 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And people would like go to all my talks. I had these like little groupies, and then they followed me on social media and email. So it had to be 10 years ago. Social media was around, and email or whatever. I had somebody contact my company in April, I believe, a couple months ago, and ask how they get to work with me. And so we sent them some stuff, and I saw their name, and I went, can't be. I remember somebody like following me around and asking me a million questions. So I got the person's info, and I sent a voice memo and said, where did we meet, or how did we meet? And I might be saying something crazy. Was it when I was speaking on the cruise ship? Person said, yep. And I've followed you ever since. And now is my time. I went, who knew that I could impact someone who would hang around for 10 years until they could work with me?
10 years.
I just never know.
Yep.
There are people watching all the time. Like sometimes on my Facebook lives, I don't see a lot of people live. And 3 or 4 days later, what I call will contact me and be like, oh my gosh, thank you for the live. That really helped. I'm like, so you just never know.
Yeah. Well, and you never know what someone else is going through. They might be, in a certain situation in their life where they can't work with you, or they don't have the time, or they don't have the money, or they don't have they need to work on themselves first, maybe a little bit before they can take that next step.
Yeah. And I totally appreciate that. So I always say to people, you have to just show up consistently and authentically, however you really are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you to be anything or anyone, just be who
Mm-hmm.
you are. And, I have one client, she's hilariously funny. And she said, do you think that that works or doesn't work? I said, is that authentic? She goes, yeah, my whole life. I go, then it works because that's who you are. I'm not
Exactly.
actually funny. So I'm not going to go tell jokes. We're all different.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way that you relate to others is, that's the way that you can tell your story.
100%.
The way that you can serve others is through humor. Who wouldn't want that?
Exactly. I mean, I think it's one of the things that endears her to me every time I see her. Like, I love hanging around her. She makes me smile,
I love that.
Yeah, just be you. And by the way, there's enough business for all of us.
That's right.
Show up as yourself, and that frequency that you're putting out there, the right people resonate. You don't have to spend a lot of money on ads, market them, sell them, pitch them. They literally will raise their hands and come to you. They really do.
Yeah. The people that need you, the people that you can serve best, they will find you.
Yep.
Yeah. You have to be visible.
Why don't you mention visibility? Because that's the one thing that I do talk about a lot. I say, a lot of you are hiding. You've got to be out there. Once you get out there, it's as if you had the best thing in the world and you're like, I'm not going to show it to anyone. You've got to be out there. And I had a client, she didn't want to do Facebook videos. She's like, oh, I don't like the way I look. I said, forget about you.
Exactly.
You're helping someone else. I said, look, I show up typically just the way I am. My hair is the way it is. I don't wear a lot of makeup or any makeup. I'm just me. So she started doing, and she's a naturopath who does this really interesting videos for women on different issues that we have. I love watching them. And all of a sudden she's like, I got 17 new patients in the last 3 months. I said, well, what was your average prior to that? She said, like maybe 7 in 4 months. She goes, what am I doing different? I go, you're following the advice of being visible. And for her, it's the visibility of showing up, not perfect. She's got lots of imperfections like we all have, and she's perfect with those imperfections.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Get out of that fear. We're so afraid. It's an ego thing again.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But that ego is trying to keep us safe.
Yeah, I mean, we need that piece of us, and we also need to know when it potentially is getting in our way to push it out there.
That's right. You're not the boss of me.
Good saying.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, we have been chatting a minute. At the end of, I love this, but at the end of my episodes, I love to ask my guests a little light, little fun question. What is your favorite beverage? Do you like a glass of wine? Do you have a favorite cocktail?
So my clients will tell you, you never see Terry without a cup of coffee.
I love it. Me too.
I
Well,
know
in the morning.
it's my vice. Okay, mine is all day. It is
Oh,
my vice. I happen to love the taste of coffee. I just say, and it's not for the caffeine because I can go right to sleep. And I've
oh,
given up. I don't get migraines the times I've done it. I just happen to love it. So it's coffee.
mm,
Hot or
okay.
cold?
And black? Do you like a black cup
I
of
like
coffee
it
or?
hot. I like it hot. I like it cold. I just love it.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. I have a girlfriend who owns coffee shops and she's really
Oh,
into it. I wish I had her in my ear right now to ask you the right questions of what kind of you like. Wow. Fun. Okay. So no adult beverages. You like an espresso martini? Because those are pretty fun too.
for adult beverages, red wine is my go-to.
Okay.
My husband invests in wine futures, so we have hold on to your chair. We have over 5,000 bottles in our basement, which is like a whole wine storage. But they're wine futures. So some of them we're not allowed to drink for X amount of years, and then some of them he sells. But I do love on weekends to have my red wine.
Okay. Now we're talking. Okay. So my husband bought some Joseph Phelps insignia on futures when we were engaged. And we have opened one of those every major anniversary. So yeah, we have one to open this year. This is our 20th year.
Oh, congratulations. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we're excited for that. But so some of the ones that your husband collects or that you both collect, you don't drink, they're for selling
Yeah, so I'm going to give you an example.
investments.
He's the guy that does this. So he bought,
Okay.
this is about 8 years ago. He bought a champagne for $100 and he
Okay.
bought 10 of them.
Okay.
And this summer, he sold each of those bottles. Are you ready for this?
Mm.
$3,000 a bottle, right? And so this is me. Can we just keep one?
Yes. I mean, look at yes.
And he said, I have others that are just as good. No,
Oh,
because these aren't made anymore. They're super rare. And he said, Terry, we've already enjoyed, and he's right. We've already enjoyed some of these. So let other people experience this because they're not available anymore.
okay.
To that. However, he does have a very special bottle that we're opening in 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, okay. Can you share what it is? Do you
I
remember
don't
what
know,
it
but
is?
once I have it, I'll let you know what it is.
Okay.
I
Okay,
just know
cool.
it's a gorgeous bottle. I've never seen a bottle quite this beautiful. I'll probably keep the bottle. I'll
Oh, fun.
for you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we sometimes keep our bottles too, just for, a
Yeah,
trophy.
that's what they are.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. I love good bubbles, good champagne. Do you remember which one the champagne was that he was selling?
That I don't remember either.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like devastated to see those bottles go. And
Oh,
I also do feel like I did have some of that, let other people enjoy it because they can't get it anymore.
it's a really nice gesture, a nice thing that to allow others to enjoy it too.
Yeah, and the price of it just was astonishing to me that people would pay that much for a bottle of champagne. And literally, I think he mentioned it on one wine thing that he's in,
Uh-huh.
and there went all the bottles like within an hour. They were all gone.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Yeah. So, yeah, when they're stored properly,
exactly.
all of that makes such a big difference too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's his little hobby and passion. I get
Oh,
the benefit of drinking it.
I would love to be a mouse in the corner and have your husband and my husband have a little chat.
That would be really interesting. I'd love that.
Yeah, we could have a glass of bubbles in the corner and watch that.
I'm with you.
Okay, it's a deal.
Love it.
Okay, so do you have a fun memory sharing a lovely bottle with your hubby or with friends?
Yeah, I really do. And unfortunately, one of the friends passed almost 2 years ago, a young
Oh, I'm
man,
sorry.
yeah, of cancer. However, it's a beautiful memory. We went to a winery, his wife, him, my husband, and me. And she was all dressed up and I was all dressed up. And the owner of the winery just really loved how much we loved the wine. So his wife came out and said, I'm going to cook you all dinner and we're going to open some wines we never open.
Ooh.
So we're sitting there, we're having all this wine. And I said, oh my gosh, my feet they were killing me. I was wearing heels and dressed up. And she said, I'll be right back. She came back with bunny slippers.
Oh,
And here I am at this elegant winery with this fancy dinner in my bunny
I
slippers.
love it.
He laughed all night. And his wife, the gentleman who passed, we still share the memory of that. She's like, do you remember when? So, beautiful memory that we're holding on to.
That is a wonderful memory. Yeah. And, it doesn't matter. You don't have to dress up. You don't have to serve a fancy meal. Just
No.
get together with girlfriends and have a good time.
It's so the things I love and value most in life are experiences. I,
Same.
I don't need more things. I don't want anyone to purchase anything for me. If I want something, I'll get it. Give me an experience. This December, my birthday's in December. One of my really good friends, who's also a client, we have just a beautiful, beautiful area here in Pennsylvania called Longwood Gardens that the DuPonts had created. And
Mm.
it's magnificent. And during the holidays, it's so she picked me up. She first took me to a place that she found that has gluten-free food because I'm celiac. And then we went to this magical winter wonderland. And I'll never forget this because it's an experience. As we were walking around outside, we had no snow. We usually have a lot of snow early in December. And all of a sudden it started snowing like crazy, kind of making it even more magical.
Like a snow globe kind of snow.
Yeah. And the kind that just sticks everywhere. And she
Yeah.
looked at me and I looked at her and she said, how's that for an experience? So that's what I like. That's what life is for me.
Yeah. Those goosebump moments.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, Terri, thank you so much. This has been fun.
Gosh, I've enjoyed it. I'd love to stay in touch. I feel like I made a new friend, a like-minded sister, and I'm so glad you've been here. Thank you.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
All right, that's a wrap on this episode of Penny for Your Shots. If you loved today's conversation, don't let the inspiration stop here. Get my weekly insider updates straight to your inbox. It's where I spill behind-the-scenes goodies, exclusive tips, and all the fun stuff I don't always share on the podcast. Sign up now at pennyforyourshots.com/insider. I'll see you in your inbox next Thirsty Thursday. Cheers!